Hello everyone. Before we start the class, those who did not subscribe the channel, please subscribe it so that you can get the update of latest videos. In the last class, we have studied about asexual reproduction and types of asexual reproduction. So in this video, we are going to see sexual reproduction in plants. When we talk about sexual reproduction in plants, the reproductive organ of a plant is a flower. And a flower is said to be a unisexual flower or bisexual flower. Unisexual. Now, uni means one and sexual means sex. That means if a flower have either male or female reproductive part, then it is said to be unisexual flower, and the examples are papaya and watermelon. When it comes to bisexual, bi means two. That means if a flower will have both male and female reproductive part, then it is said to be a bisexual flower. And the examples are China rose and mustard. Now we will see the difference between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction, it is a easier and faster mode of reproduction. That means in asexual reproduction, the reproduction mode will be very easy and faster mode, as we have seen that when they reproduce in hundreds in numbers. Seedless plants can be grown by vegetative propagation. We have studied about different types of vegetative propagations, like a natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. That means by using these methods, even seedless plants can also be grown. Desired traits can be preserved through generations. So by using the same methods, that is by cutting, layering and grafting, desired characters can be preserved. New plants formed are genetically identical to their parents. That means the new plants which are going to come, they will be identical to their parents. That means they will be the copy of the parent. They are more prone to diseases. So as there is no concept of male and female, we won't have any control, and they don't have any inbuilt protection. So they are more prone to diseases, and no genetic variation is seen in them, because the reason is that they are exactly identical. So no variations are seen in asexual mode of reproduction. When it comes to sexual reproduction, slower mode of reproduction. So when compared to asexual reproduction, as we have seen, they give rise to hundreds in number, but in sexual reproduction, it is totally different when it comes to asexual reproduction. Genetic variations are seen, new traits you will see. That means the trait or a new character you will see, which is not available in father as well as in mother. That new character you will see in the child. They are less prone to diseases. That means here the mechanism by which reproduction takes place, it has an inbuilt mechanism to protect from diseases. That is the reason they are less prone to diseases. Just now we saw the difference between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in plants. I even told you that when it comes to sexual reproduction in plants, the reproductive organ is a flower. So the first question which raises in our mind is that what is a flower? As I told you, that flower is a reproductive organ, and when you see a flower, you will see a stalk. Actually, the place where we hold the flower, that is called a stalk. Next you will see thalamus. So thalamus is a swollen part where the flower sits, that is called as thalamus. The next comes sepals. So when we see a flower, that means when it was a bird, that bird was protected by sepals itself. The next comes petals. So they are a colorful part of a flower which attracts the insects, and as we all know that insects are very good pollinating agents. The next comes stamen. The male reproductive organ of a flower is a stamen, and it releases male gametes, which is called as pollen grains. The next comes carpel. It is a female reproductive in a flower, and it produces female gametes. They are called as ovum or egg. So as we saw that in a flower, male and female reproductive organ is going to play a vital role in reproduction. So let us study the structure in more details. So first we will see the structure of stamen. flower can have more than one stamen. That means a flower may have one stamen or more than one stamen. And when you see the stamen, you will find out three parts, that is a filament, anther and connective. Filament, it is a stalk that bears anther. That means the hair-like structure which you are seeing, that is called as filament. So on this filament you will see bilobe structure, that is called as anther. Anther is a bilobe structure at the top of the filament. So this anther is exactly at the top of the filament. Each lobe has two pollen sacs, and a pollen sac contains pollen grains, and pollen grains are nothing but they are male gametes in a flower. Connective. It is a connective which connects two lobes of anther. That means if you see the two lobes of the anther, they are connected by using a connective. Structure of carpel. If you see structure, even in this you will find out three parts, that is ovary, style and stigma. Ovary, it is the most crucial part of a flower. It is very important part of a flower, and it is a basal enclosed part of carpel. Now entire cavity present in ovary is called as a locule. The cavity which is present inside the ovary, it is called as locule. Inside ovarian cavity, it has ovules. One ovary can consist of one ovule or many ovules. Inside each ovule, it has a female gamete which is called as ovum. Ovules are attached to a cushion-like structure which is called as placenta. Style. Tube-like structure that connects the ovary and stigma, it is called as style. Stigma. Located at exposed end of style, it is exposed end of environment, and it is also called as a receptive surface for pollen grains. That means the stigma is exposed to the environment so that pollen grains can reach very easily to the stigma. Thanks for watching the video. The remaining topics will be covered in the upcoming video.